Okay, we're talking about following up today, which is super, super important. I don't know if you guys have ever heard the fortune is in the follow-up, but it is so true. Almost, I'd say 95% of my sales have come from following up and following up like a boss over and over and over and over again. So I think the key to being successful at following up with people is to not think that you're bugging people or be concerned that you're being annoying or you're being too pushy. That kind of a mindset is going to give that negative energy when you're talking to somebody, and they're going to feel that and they're going to sense that, and they're probably going to have more of a negative reaction. Whereas if you go into the follow up being like, I'm following up because I care about this person, I actually want to see how things are going, even if they say no, to me, the follow up is a way to continue the relationship. Whether or not they're ready to join me, I'm following up, I'm being a human, I'm just saying, hey, how are things are going? Is this a better time for you to join me? And then they can tell me a little bit about their life. I can respond, hey, we're still in the middle of a move. I can be like, oh, that's great. Where are you guys moving? Like, I can continue the relationship from that follow-up conversation. So I see following up as showing that I care. And I also see following up as friendly reminding, because I don't know about you guys, but if I am not reminded constantly of the things I need to do, you guys should see how many alarms I have on my phones to remember to take my vitamins, to get up, to take this kid to this place, to call the pediatrician for an appointment. Like, I have to put alarms on my phones for everything because I will not remember. If I do remember, I'm going to remember at 10 p.m. when I'm laying in bed trying to go to sleep and I can't do anything about it. And I feel like that's so the same with other people. They're busy. They saw your message when they were at a stoplight or in line at Costco, and they thought about responding, but they didn't actually respond. They forgot about the video that you sent them to watch. So I always give people the benefit of the doubt. I always assume that they're still interested, but they're just busy and they just need a friendly, neutral, not emotionally charged at all, but just super friendly reminder like, hey, did you watch that video? Hey, are you still interested in my group coming up? So that's how I see following up. And I've seen evidence of how important follow-ups are when I'm on the other side of the conversation. So for example, one of my Beachbody clients started another business of her own, and she was talking to me about one of the products, and I was interested in it. I still am. And she sent me a video to watch, like I do often with my people. I still haven't watched it. I think about it probably once or twice a week, like, oh yeah, I didn't watch that video that she sent me. Or, oh yeah, I was interested in that product of hers, but I haven't watched the video yet. But she has not once followed up with me about that. We've talked about other stuff. We've talked about Beachbody. We've talked about some other stuff she's doing. She has never once followed up and sent me a message that said, hey, did you watch that video? I also had an experience like that with a Norwex rep. I wanted one of those like dusting mitts. I hate dusting, and some of my furniture doesn't tolerate like the dusting spray. That's how my mom dusted. And so I was looking for an easy way to dust, and I saw they have these like amazing microfiber dusting mitts, and I was talking to a girl about it. I don't remember her name to this day. I don't remember her name. And I was telling her I was interested and should I get the feather duster or the mitt or whatever. And I didn't make a decision in that conversation, right? I said, okay, thanks for the information. I don't even know what I said, but I didn't purchase, I didn't make a decision. And then she never followed up with me. I wanted the mitt. I was like ready to buy the mitt. I had decided that's what I wanted, but she never followed up with me. And the bad part was it was on Facebook, but I didn't remember her name. Like, she wasn't someone that I could communicate a lot with on Facebook. So I didn't remember her name. I couldn't just go back to her and be like, oh yeah, I decided I wanted that mitt. Can I order it from you? Like, that was just lost. The opportunity was lost. I ended up buying it from someone else that came along because I just couldn't remember her name, and she never followed up with me, but I totally was like ready to spend my money with her. So I am very, very diligent about following up with people. And I get ghosted a lot, and that's totally normal. Again, I'm giving the people the benefit of the doubt. They thought they answered me in their head, or they were busy, or maybe they didn't even see it. Sometimes I have a lot of women that tell me their kids get their phones. I personally don't let my kids have my phone. So I'm just kind of like, well, don't let your kids have your phone. But they tell me their kids get their phones and they delete all the notifications and they never see my messages. That happens a lot too. So I just follow up and assume that they're still interested until they tell me otherwise. And if they're still watching my stuff, if they've told me they're not interested right now, or they're not interested, they've just said no thanks, but they keep watching my stories or they keep following me on Instagram or whatever, I will invite them once in a while and see how it goes. Sometimes people don't know how to tell you that they're not interested, and so they'll block you instead. And I just want to encourage you to not take that personally. I have actually had some people that I know in person block me, and then I see them in public and they're totally like, hey, Brenna, how are you? Like totally friendly. So for whatever reason, they just didn't want me on their social media, or they didn't want me to be able to follow up with them anymore. The thing is, if someone tells me straight up they're not interested and it's not for them, I totally respect that. I continue to be their friend on social media, but I don't keep messaging them about Beachbody. So I feel good that I'm following up with a genuine heart. I'm not trying to push people into stuff they don't want. I personally hate it when someone buys a challenge pack and then they go MIA and I never see them again, never hear from them again. They cancel all their orders. I'm like, well, it's just like a waste of a potential relationship with us, because they bought this thing. I know they never used it, never got results from it. They probably had, not the experience they were hoping for, and that's not my fault. So I actually prefer when people only buy when they're really interested and they're ready to actually get started and make the changes, because what we're selling is not easy. We're not selling cute lipstick or paint or like nail stickers or cute clothes. Like, we're selling stuff that requires work and requires change, and it's hard, and it takes a lot of mindset work too, and it kind of brings up all the ugly parts of yourself, and you have to face them to really get to your goals. And so what we're inviting people to do is so much harder than what most companies are selling out there, because it's not cute and fun and spur of the moment. Like, we're asking people to do hard work, but for me, that's super meaningful, because what we're sharing with people can change their lives so deeply. I really believe fitness can be the gateway to major life changes, major self-confidence changes. And so I feel like what we do is super meaningful, and the more meaningful and the harder it is, the more resistance we're going to get up front with the sales end. But the more worthwhile it is when we finally get those people to invest in themselves and get results and see what they're like, watch their lives change. So I just want to encourage you guys to be really relentless in leaving people better than you found them, giving them the benefit of the doubt, assuming the best, assuming that they're still interested until they tell you otherwise, and just making sure that you don't let people fall through the cracks. Keep good lists, keep good collections, whatever you're using. If you want to start collecting emails, I think that's super smart. That's something that I still have not been able to work into my routine. And I'm thinking of how many people I've talked to over the past 8 years. Probably, I would probably be sick to think how many people I could still be in touch with. So I think that's smart if you want to get emails and send out a newsletter or something like that. There's so many ways you can keep tabs on people, but just keep following up and keep being a good human and leaving people better than you found them. And eventually all that good energy and all those good seeds you're planting will come to fruition. One thing that my coach, Brigitte, tells me a lot is, the only thing we can really control is the seeds we plant. Like, we can control how many seeds we plant, we can control how well we nurture them, but we don't really get to choose when the harvest comes. So the more consistent you can be, and the better your energy when you sit down to work, the better your results are going to be down the road, whether that's next month or in the next 6 months or the next 6 years. But one thing too, network marketing, any network marketing business is a long haul marathon kind of business opportunity. It's not a get rich quick scheme. And the people who see that lifetime kind of like life-changing wealth that you can receive from network marketing are people who have the long game in mind, right? They're not after quick sales. They're not after transactions. They're after transformations and helping people transform their lives. And they're here for the long haul. They're not thinking, oh, I'm just going to do this for 6 months and pay for this for a certain thing and then peace out. They're thinking, no, I'm going to be here next year and the year after and the year after. And that's something that's really kept me in this game as well. And good thing too, because if I had given up in the first 3 or 4 years, I would have been missing out on so many amazing people. And of course, my income has grown a lot in those last few years too. So follow up, because that's where the fortune and the friendships lie, my friends. And that's what I really wanted to share with you today. So that's all I have. Do you guys have any questions?
Hi. Sorry. She's nursing all day long today. Not really a question, but just like I guess, yeah, me too. Like, I don't think I've ever gotten, well, maybe on those few random people that are just like ready the first time you talk to them, which is so, so rare. But pretty much all of my people have come from follow-ups after like 6 months, a year, 3 years, 5 years. So, I don't know. I think about that too. Like so many people that have like asked me about things for whatever business they're doing and never follow up. And sometimes I think like, oh yeah, like I would really be interested in that. Or even like an invite, like I always see those things like, oh, I would probably really be interested in that. But she's never said anything to me about it. So I guess I won't. And I just think about, why do I think that way? Like if I want something, then I should just go and talk to them, but I'm so nervous about it. So I'm sure that's how everybody else feels. So sometimes when I see those kind of come across or I get those feelings, I'm like, oh yeah, I really need to like invite more people because they're probably just as nervous and follow up. So just my thoughts.
Yeah. Or people are seeing our post and they're thinking, oh, that's cool, but they're not internalizing it and being like, oh, that could be for me. They're not thinking that until you reach out and be like, hey, I have this thing. Do you think it's for you? And then they're like, oh, that's happened to me a few times as well, on the other end of the conversation. So that's why individual conversations for me have always trumped anything I do on social media, any of my posts, my stories. It's always the individual conversations that are going on in the DMs, in the messenger. And that's really where the magic happens. And so that's one thing that helps me with social media when none of my posts get great traction or no comments. And I'm like, oh, like yesterday, I thought my reel was so funny and it just like got minimal views. And one thing that's kind of like, I'm trying to not beat myself up about those vanity metrics of likes or views, is to realize that my business and how well it's going really depends on how many people I'm talking to and how many conversations I'm having and how many invites I'm sending out. And I have full control over that. I don't have full control over how stuff is landing on social media that I'm putting out there, but I can control how many conversations I'm having. And I really try to focus on that rather than how well my posts are doing, because all of my customers and coaches have come from individual conversations. So that's another thing that I find super helpful. Kendra, Jenny, you guys have any? I think Jenny's probably in a public spot with her mom, but Kendra, do you have anything?
No, I don't. I think that is definitely kind of where I've always been, is like I always feel awkward following up or that I'm like annoying them or anything like that. And so I like how you say, like, if you have the right mindset going into it, that it's really going to come out. I think as when I believe in myself, it definitely comes out on the other end.
For sure. Yeah, and I think if you have true intentions, like you're out here to help people and not make a quick buck, then however people perceive that, that's on them. Like, because there are some people that I'm sure like, oh my gosh, this girl's so annoying. That's on them, because that's not what I'm trying to do. So I just make sure to have my own energy and my own intentions in place and then just go for it. Okay. Can you guys be on camera for a second for a picture if you don't have anything else to say? Maybe I will stop the recording.